Okay, hello. It's a great pleasure to meet you. I read your fantastic book, and I would like to start by saying that I really like the concept of your book, based on the Nile, like a kind of vampum bedded with stories. Yeah, you string stories on like beds. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I myself once also wanted to go upstream the Nile, but from Kosti, to the south,
From the south to the north.
towards Juba.
Mhm.
But well, I had no. Probably I was not brave enough to fulfill. As you know, the Nile has a special place in our Western imaginary. Yes. The Nile is a source of life, is an imperial myth, is a tourist attraction, is a national resource, a tool of political pressure. You wrote about that it can be an asylum, a refugee for people hiding, yes, from any danger. It is a communication channel, of course. There is a big literature on that. For me personally, ethnographer doing research for many years in Sudan, it is a metaphysical border dividing villages, yes, from each other, internal from external world, yes. But what is it for you in the first place? Is it a pattern of identification, like you suggested in the title?
Well, I think, as I say in the book, everybody in the history who wanted to discover the world ended in the Nile, because it was a kind of pole of attraction of civilizations that are living in the borders of the Nile, but also civilizations that are living outside. I mean, the Greeks, philosophers, Napoleon, all the people who was looking outside their own world went to the Nile. And also you see the people, the all the thousands of people who are living in the river, they have something in common, because it's like the river is a kind of communication link with different empires or kingdoms. So for me, it's a very lyric river, and also human, because it's without the Nile, a lot of people won't exist, because you see the population who is living in the demography of Egypt or Sudan. It's almost 90% of the people is living on the banks on the river. So it's a very human river, and it's a pole of attractions of cultures, communication, and that's something very amazing of this river. I enjoy it a lot, the trip, and also meeting all the people along the river.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree definitely. Your book talks about several countries, but for me, your book is a story about Sudan, first of all. Both Sudans, about its beautifulness, but about its demons as well. With ambivalence, of course, brings to mind a set of typical colonial representation on the one hand, but on the other, it is a fact. It is a fact strongly felt and expressed by the Sudanese. I was many times interrogated by the people, even last year, that look, Sudan is so beautiful. Well, the people are kind, are friendly, but look, the state is oppressive, it's aggressive, it's a lot of violence. I don't understand. Can you? So it is also the fact. Achilles' member considered this phenomenon as characteristic of a post-colonial state, and also called post-colonial syndrome, and described it as a zombification. I think it is an example of Sudan and South Sudan, mutual deprivation of vitality, yes, powerlessness, apathy, yes. You can strongly feel it in modern Sudan, and there is a lot of protests every 2-3 times a week, yes, but nothing happens, nothing is changing. My question is, from where the Sudan's problem come from, in your opinion? I think you gave a good example by describing Lord Resistance Army, the phenomenon, the army of sorcerers, the tribe of Boddenland. Yes, I think they are good case study. Yeah. What do you think about?
First of all, I agree with this feeling that South Sudanese people is very nice, but having a very problematic history. I mean, if you compare, I've been doing now the navigation of the Congo River. I just finished in the last summer, and in Congo, also in Nigeria, you can feel the people some anger because the history of exploitation. In South Sudan, it's a bit of surprise because the people is quite nice. I mean, they have a history of exploitation from Ottomans, from Ottoman Turkish, from Sudanese, from British, but they keep this kindness to the people who come from outside, and that's something amazing. That's something that amazes me every time that I go. These days, they are like in a very, very bad situation, and they keep this kindness that I don't know very well why, but it's I think it's because they are used to the community. Maybe it could be also because they have like a fight against Arabic in the north, the Arabs in the north. So maybe they focus on this rivalry more than in the Western rivalry. Not sure about this. About the roots of the South Sudanese situation is a complex one. I think probably South Sudan is one of the most complex conflicts in Africa, because you have like several states. First of all, it was with all this heritage of exploitation, as I said before. You have also this fight among the south and the north. But when independence happened in 2011, the fight started to be among the people in the south. So we had a President Dinka and a vice president who is Nuer, the main tribes. But we saw it quickly. The South Sudan was not about two only big tribes. There are many, and the situation in 2013 started with a war again, because the Dinka they did a kind of Dinka land in the power, and then the Nuer started fighting against them. But in 2018 they did a peace deal. What's the problem? The peace deal was only among the two main tribes, and now this second state of war, we'll say, it's a kind of a state that is more about small groups who are fighting to get their part of power. And then it's a system militarized. If you find a way to disturb the situation in your region, you will be compensated to stop doing this. So violence is a way to do this. Also, we can't forget that this is one of the most corrupt countries in the world, and you see that in everything. You see that in like corruption about money, that is like the more common, but also in something that is more particular in South Sudan. South Sudan, the cattle is very important. It's a kind of banks in movement. Every cow, it's a symbol of power. It's a symbol of economy. And you see, for example, now the fights between the tribes to steal the cows are a weapon of war. Why? Because the very important people, the powerful people that live in Juba, they have thousands of cattle in the bush. So when they send the armed people to steal other cows, it's a kind of fighting the rival who is in Juba with them. So if I'm competing with you, and then I know that you have a lot of cattle, I send my people to steal your cattle, so your power will diminish. So it's a kind of system where you find the geopolitical reasons, you have like local reasons, but even the tribal reasons are mixed with political and power interests, like everywhere in the world. It's an interesting country, it's an amazing country, but it's a complicated one because the international community, for example, is more interested on trying to do a kind of democracy of peace dealing. And when you go deep, they are not so interested on that the situation really works. It's like, okay, the elections in 2025 has to work, and the democracy has to work, but it's a very complicated country where this situation even can lead on more violence.
Yeah, I was in Juba. I was in South Sudan in 2007 and 8, and I was very sad. But now I realize that it was the happiest time of South Sudan. It's 2-3 years between CPA and the referendum. Yeah, the country was developing more or less. There were these problems you describe there at that time. I've seen it with my very eyes, but there was no fight. There was hope. There was
Optimism.
Yeah, optimism mixed with but we have to deal with each other, not fight. Yes, we have to, because we have an enemy in the north, the Khartoumers, and we have finally our country, but it has finished with gaining the independence. Yes, and
no, I agree. I definitely remember the atmosphere in the referendum day and in the day of the independence, and I believe that the peace will prevail. I mean, and the country is entering a new phase. So I was really wondering that everybody crying by happiness, they were right, because the situation was good. So I agree. These days we didn't know, but they were the happiest for a lot of people in South Sudan.
In the whole history so far. You look at the Nile Valley a bit from the perspective of aerial photography on the one hand, but on the other hand, you have on your side the common people, the common ordinary man. Your description is detailed. In the chapter Seat Warmers, you recall the experience of Ugandan public transport. It's my favorite part in your book.
Yeah.
For me, as an ethnographer, it is extremely interesting. I was also interested in it, and even wrote a short chapter on the situation on the Sudanese minibus, how people behave. Because, in my opinion, it is institution, microstructure, which tell you a lot about the wider social context. Yes, what do you think about it? What do you think about culturally and socially importance of this mean of transport?
Well, for me, it's crucial. I mean, this kind of details of that you discover when you are living on the ground, I think are important not only as an anecdote. It's not only because it's funny issues. It's because it explains a lot how people survive, how people try to overcome situations. They are like alive, we could say. So I think this is it's true. I try to balance the history, the political explanation with like maybe sometimes deep and sad stories, but with this kind of light stories, but not because I say that light because they are not important. I think are really important, and at the end, when I explain things to my friends or my colleagues about the trips that I do, I always see that these kind of stories are very interesting for the people. They are like interested on this kind of details, and you don't find them a lot on reports in the media or in books. So for me, it's important also because the way that I like to travel in Africa. I come from a newspaper who is not, I mean, it's big now, but I worked as a freelance a lot of time. I didn't have a lot of money. So for me, it was the only way to travel in Africa, with public transports, with doing this. But at the same time, it's something that I like a lot. It's not, I regret and I would prefer to be in a 5-star hotel, because I think then your view is different and you don't live the same things. So, I mean, Kapuscinski did the same. Kapuscinski was working for the Polish agency with not a lot of money. What happened then? That he had to live like African people. He had to live in the same neighborhood or travel to travel with them. And if you are traveling with your eyes and your ears open, you find these kind of stories. I remember in Congo last days, I was in a restaurant and talking with some people there, and they told me about they call it a kind of meal robbers. In Congo, you ask for a chicken, and it takes hours until you are served. So Congolese people who are hungry and come to the same restaurant, they pay a kind of bribe of $10 to the waiter, and they say the first chicken that it comes from the kitchen, it's for me. So it's like they pay to take the first thing that it comes from the kitchen, and then the other people has to wait more. That is not only funny. It's a small it's a small anecdote that it explains a lot about the country, about that you have to survive, you have to be attentive, you have to see, and you, at the end, you feel you have been exploited by Westerns, so you have like a kind of right to do the same in a restaurant. So why they have to be served? Now I have money, give $10, and then we are Congolese, the waiter and me. So it's a small thing, but I think it explains more than maybe a social, political explanation. And at the same time, it's funny. So it's welcome for the books.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. The last thing about Juba. I have to tell you that we have more or less similar experience entering Juba from the airport side. When I came to Juba, I had nobody there. I had a name of hotel written down on the paper, and no friends on site. I get out from the airport and I couldn't find a taxi. A taxi driver as well. I found one Ugandan guy who was willing to help me, but he was surprised that I had no organization to host me. That I'm a freelancer, I'm an anthropologist. Who? This hotel doesn't exist. I didn't hear about it. So he had a big problem with me, not what to do with me. Luckily, he took me to his friends from Uganda who were trying to open the hotel tent camp for Eastern African entrepreneurs. And luckily, I was able to pay. It was $20 or $30 per day. But I was in a tent. But I was lucky. Yes. Later, I realized that I was very, very lucky. But well, I was shocked. No hotel, no the taxi drivers. No, it was the first time. It's very typical for Juba. Yes, the incredible city. It was incredible in 2007-8, and I think it is still a very fascinating place. What do you think? What do you think about Juba? I'm looking forward for more.
Well, Juba is amazing because maybe it's one of the last capitals, maybe with Bangui in Central African Republic, who is a kind of village becoming a capital, a city. It's like a capital on the making. It's still in the middle because you have some buildings, not many. You have some tarmac roads, but not many. You also have, like, in the middle of the city, like a kind of fence made by boat by like the trees. I mean, so it's a kind of mix. It's a vital city. You also can see different things that are happening. I mean, Chinese presence. You have also Lebanese presence there, Eritreans who are there dealing this. You also see the city, for example, when the last time I was there this week, I felt the city is not growing so quick as it should be. Since the first time that I was there in 2011, a lot of money has flowed to the country, and not the evolution of the city is not progressive enough. So I was speaking with people, and everybody that has a salary sends the money outside because they have their kids studying outside, because they have their wives outside, because they have a house outside. Outside can be Uganda, can be Kenya, can be Europe, or can be Saudi Arabia. And that happens from the president to the NGO employee. So you see, it's like a kind of city who is in a speed that shows what is happening in the country. It's a kind of mix of a village and city and a capital who is like not going fast enough as the country is. And I think it's a very interesting one. Has a lot of stories, a lot of corruption you can see in Juba too. I mean, if you go to the place where the World Food Program takes or puts all the food, and the president of is the family of the president who owns this place. So you see that all the system is also going to the same pockets. A lot of NGOs too. It's crazy. I mean, NGOs. There is a street you can see Save the Children, MSF, UN. It's crazy, and it's the neighborhood where you see like different restaurants, both and all this. So I feel Juba is interesting, but at the same time, it shows the problems that are happening in the country.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we could chat for a whole day. Xavier, as a cultural anthropologist doing research in Sudan, I would like to highly recommend your book, The Children of the Nile, to everyone in Poland. So I'm very happy that we will have finally the Polish edition of your book, and I hope we will meet someday. I'm going to Sudan in November, but to Sudan, to Khartoum. Now I'm working in Soba. It is a ship town close to Khartoum North. And also I'm heading for Meseda. It's on the third cataract in the Nile Valley in the north.
Nice place.
So yes, this second direction will be very nice because it will be peace and quiet. You have a country, small village on the Nile. So it will be very lovely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, if I can help you, like with some context, I have a good friend who is a journalist and he appears on the book. Awad. I'm not sure if he's now in Europe, but if he's in Khartoum, because he has clinic health problems. But if he's in Khartoum, it's definitely someone who is very interesting to meet, because he's doing journalism against the government, and it's putting him a lot of problems. And it's definitely a very interesting guy.
Yeah, the same view. If you will have any issue, any problem while going to Sudan, just let me know.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm now trying to get access to Somalia, because it seems they are gonna say that it's famine, declare famine in the next weeks, months before December. So I'm trying to get access, because when that will happen, all the international media, I think they will go. Then it will be difficult for me to get access.
Okay, Xavier, thank you. Thank you for.
Thank you very much. For me, it's a pleasure. I mean, and I'm super happy of the book being in Polish. You know, I mean, about Kapuczynski more than me. But for me, it was a reference when I was a young journalist, or starting to be a journalist. Because not only for sure for the amazing stories that he explained, but also because that for me was the first time that I saw a journalist going to the field to look at the people at eyes. And I said before, the point of not covering the continent in five-star hotels with a 4x4 at the door, with a fixer who's preparing everything for you. Kapuczynski did not this. For me, was a kind of a leading figure, because I wanted to do in that way. It's maybe more difficult. You need more time. Sometimes you don't success. You don't get maybe interviews with the ministers. But for me, it's important to do it in that way, more in maybe an anthropologist way or mixing anthropologism with journalists. But for me, it's important. It's a kind of trying to be in the middle to try to understand and listen. It's very important.
Yeah, we both were lucky and unlucky because of economic condition, political condition. Yes, we had no other option. Yes, just to look from the local, very low perspective. Yes, but it turned out very productive.
Yeah. In perspective, I won't never change the how I had to do it. I will never have changed the coverage just because maybe it was more comfortable for me. Maybe I lost some hair because this, but it's fine. I prefer it that way.
How long you are coming back to normal life when you are back to Spain? Because it was also it is my permanent problem. I need some time to come back.
I will differ. I will make a difference. I have 2 kids. I have 2 daughters, 5 and 8. So that make the adaptation quicker. I have no time to think a lot about, because they are ready to be with their father, and that gives me stability, and I can be with them the first or second day thinking on South Sudan. So I'm with them 100% because they ask for 100% of the father. I would say that maybe I have like two things. It's like the normal life, it comes quickly, so you forget a bit, and then there is a kind of more mental time that you need to put everything. But I have been always a bit like that. I don't talk a lot. I don't explain a lot of adventures or histories or whatever, or tales to my friends. So I like a lot mountain. I like a lot going to walk in the mountains. And for me, it's a kind of, I would say, therapy. Maybe therapy is a very big word. Not so bad. I mean, but it's like I like walking on the mountain. I like climbing, and if I see that I'm a bit like stressed or thinking too much on this, is what I do. But it's thanks to my family. I think the 2 kids and Julia. Julia is also a journalist, and we used to travel a lot in Africa, so she understands when a trip has been complicated or not, just quickly. It's not.
So you have a lucky one.
Yeah. No, I'm very lucky, and she understands very well me, and that's not common. And also the daughters. Well, I explained this in the book. No, not this one. With my daughters, since they were born, I asked them to give me a toy that they like. So I don't care what toy. They have to give me this. So it's their choice. So when I travel, a kid that I met in the trip, that I spent some time, not one that I met in the street, I give this. I talk with my kids about what they think about giving this gift to this kid. So it became a kind of, because what I saw at the beginning, the phone calls were a bit sad because they missed me, and we were talking more about don't cry than the trip, and the toys became a way to talk about the toy. So why, what this toy going, where this toy is going, what kid needs more, and so at the end, this also helped because it's a kind of explaining the country to them in an easy way. The other day I was showing Elena, the oldest one, what kids I gave the toys, and then I was explaining this kid lives in a cattle camp, and you see all these cows they are moving to one place to the other. Sometimes they are attacked and they don't have a lot of toys, but this one, it will be shared by all the family, that there are maybe nine brothers and sisters. So if the toy is a open door to explain something to kids, and that's something that also helps this landing on my home.
No, thank you. It's a great story. I have to tell you that I have 3 kids, and this time I'm going to take the elder one, my daughter. She's 17, with me to Sudan.
Wow!
Well, just to show her my world, my second world. I took my wife once to Sudan, and it was a very good, also way of integrating my family life and my professional life with each other, because she could see by her eyes, yes, what I'm going there so many times, yes, when I'm coming back there. Not
That's
only
amazing.
Yeah, but
one day I will do this.
Yeah. And she understands. She's doing different profession. She's a musician, but she understands now. That's a great thing. And now I would like to show my daughter. Yes, and we'll see this experiment. What will happen? She will like it.
In the next trip, or
in November. So within a month, we are heading to Sudan for 1 month together. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. This is an age that normally the kids, they don't want nothing about their fathers, the parents. That you're traveling with her is something good.
Yeah, I hope I won't disappoint her, because
No, I'm sure not.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let's be in touch. Okay, I hope we will meet maybe in Acropole, maybe in Khartoum.
I mean, I hope so. And I never been in Poland, so I hope one day I will have the possibility to go there. Also, if it's possible to do the presentation of the book, I will love it. So, and also now, Poland is a very good country for a Barcelona fan, because we have Lewandowski.
Yeah,
so.
Lewandowski. Yeah.
So thanks for that.